Hey everyone, I'm back once more to wrap up the first round of this MCU bracket, and I'm really excited to talk about this group of movies. I mentioned in a previous video that I think Black Panther is a masterpiece, and I do, but there's actually two movies that are the top two MCU movies for me, and they're both in this bracket. So stay tuned.
That's crazy.
Now, just as a reminder, the four matchups we are discussing today are Spider-Man Homecoming versus Iron Man 3, Captain America the First Avenger versus Loki, Captain America the Winter Soldier versus the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Thor the Dark World versus Avengers Endgame. So let's dive in. So the first matchup is Spider-Man Homecoming versus Iron Man 3. So I like both these movies. I've talked about how Spider-Man No Way Home is my favorite Spider-Man movie. I mentioned that before. I kind of hinted at Spider-Man Far From Home being second out of that trilogy. But I still enjoyed Spider-Man Homecoming. The introduction of Spider-Man into the MCU, this being his first solo film as part of the MCU, it was really exciting. Spider-Man for a while, it's one of the most popular MCU characters. But for so long, it was owned by Sony, and that seemed like a wall that the MCU wouldn't be able to break through. I think everyone was thrilled when Sony and Marvel were able to come to an agreement to bring Spider-Man into the MCU. And boy, did they. The character has been fantastic. All the movies have been really good. So Spider-Man Homecoming is a strong contender. Iron Man 3, I really enjoyed Iron Man 3 because it was the first Iron Man movie after Avengers, after the first Avengers movie came out. The Avengers movie saw Tony have to really face the idea of being this hero that has to make sacrifices, that has to really fight in more of a war type situation. Instead of just being able to have the glory of being the hero, he had to face some odds that were tough to get by. And he had to see some things that were difficult to deal with. Iron Man 3 explored this. He dealt with stress over what he had faced in Avengers, and although watching someone be stressed out is not always very cinematic, I really liked that they showed his struggle with his mental health after the events of the Avengers. I thought it was an interesting way to go about it. There was a lot about the movie that I think could have been better. The villains weren't really as interesting as some of the other ones. There's a lot of the storyline that didn't live up to some of the other movies, but I did enjoy watching the path of Iron Man 3 and seeing how Iron Man coped with life after the Avengers. For me, these two movies are both great movies. For me, both these movies are great movies, but my pick is going to be Spider-Man Homecoming.
Good old Spider-Man.
The second matchup is Captain America the First Avenger versus Loki. Now, Captain America, I'm wearing a shirt in honor of Captain America because he is showing up everywhere in this current bracket. Of Captain America the First Avenger, I'll be talking about Captain America the Winter Soldier. There's Falcon the Winter Soldier, talking about the inheritance of the position and the shield. And then, of course, he's in Avengers Endgame. He plays a major role there. Captain America the First Avenger, that was the introduction. And going into that movie, I was nervous. I loved the character of Captain America from the comics. And this was his introduction into the MCU. We had Iron Man, we had the Incredible Hulk, we had movies that I thought Marvel did a fantastic job with them. And I love Captain America. But at the time, I did not think Captain America was very cinematic. He isn't as much a pew pew or a bam bam, like destruction. He throws a shield. That's his main weapon of choice, is a shield. I didn't think that would convert well to the big screen. And when I first saw the previews, I was even more nervous because they had him busting through a door, shooting a gun. And that was not really the Captain America I wanted. I didn't want him to be a shoot 'em up type of hero. Luckily, he wasn't. The movie did a great job. It showed him as a soldier, but it showed him trying to overcome the struggles of the war and trying to be a good person and do what he could to help. So I thought it was a great movie, great introduction to the character. But I will say, I've really come to appreciate all that can be packed into the Disney Plus shows and Loki was no exception. Being able to show that character in his progression was awesome, and I was so immersed all through that season. So for me, I am actually going to have to give it to Loki.
What did you expect?
The third matchup, Captain America the Winter Soldier versus the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Well, congratulations, Winter Soldier. You're moving on either way. It's kind of interesting that these two matchups, these two movies got the draw against each other with the similarities of their title. But for me, it's... Well, I alluded to at the beginning of this that my two favorite movies in the MCU to date, even still, are in this bracket. Well, Captain America the Winter Soldier is my favorite. I thought just from the very first scene, Captain America running around Washington, D.C., his interactions with Falcon, constantly passing that on your left, them joking with each other. I loved the way that they, from every moment of this movie, I absolutely loved the way they handled everything. Captain America was the symbol of America, the symbol of freedom, of doing what's right. But in this movie, the people he was following, he had questions about them. And he had to decide between being the good soldier or being what he believed to be the good person. And he chose, despite the fact that it made him an enemy of the state, he chose to do what he believed is right. And it laid the foundation, it really solidified what he was as a hero. So Captain the Winter Soldier, I absolutely loved it. Falcon the Winter Soldier, they addressed some themes in there that I think it was very well done. Really enjoyed that show. But what it comes down to, Captain America the Winter Soldier is my absolute favorite. I think it's the best Black Widow movie too. I consider her and Captain America to be co-leads. And seeing how she was able to use her abilities as a spy to help Captain America when he was helpless in certain parts of that, the whole movie, I think, was so well done, and it's actually my favorite. So Captain America the Winter Soldier gets my vote.
We won, Captain.
The last matchup, Thor the Dark World versus Avengers Endgame. Well, I mentioned that my favorite MCU movie was Captain America the Winter Soldier. So, you probably guessed it, my second favorite is Thor the Dark World. Okay, I'm kidding. My second favorite is Avengers Endgame. I heard someone refer to it as a love letter to Marvel and a love letter to the heroes thus far. And yes, that's very much what it was. Traveling back, revisiting a lot of those iconic scenes from all their previous movies. It was so well done, and I ate up every minute of it. Yes, it was fan service at some points, but I'm a fan and I was okay with it. I thought it was amazing. I want to go watch it again right now, but I'm not going to because I'm doing this video. But it was such an amazing movie, and I will always be up for watching that one again. So that is actually currently my number 2 behind Captain America the Winter Soldier, as far as all the MCU movies, just for me personally. Thor the Dark World, I did enjoy it. This was in the early phases of Thor, where it was taking him very seriously as a character. I think they hadn't yet realized what Thor could be as a character with this one. But it was still a good movie, and I enjoyed it. That said, it's against Avengers Endgame, and for me, not close. Avengers Endgame was just so incredible. I have to give it to Avengers Endgame.
Not that it's a competition.
So those are my picks for that last group in the first round. Now let's see what you have to say. So for the first matchup, we have Spider-Man Homecoming versus Iron Man 3. The winner is Spider-Man Homecoming. Next up, we have Captain America, the First Avenger versus Loki. Curious to see how this one goes. This one goes to Loki. Captain America, the Winter Soldier versus the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Captain America, the Winter Soldier. My favorite moves on. And actually, this one was unanimous. I did like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but yeah, Captain America, the Winter Soldier was fantastic, and that one moves on. And the last matchup, Thor, the Dark World versus Avengers Endgame. Also unanimous for Avengers Endgame. So there we have it. Those 4 move on, and we have our complete set of second round Marvel movies ready to go. So next video, we're going to move on to the next round. We're going to start in on the second round. So So voting is now open. In the description below, there'll be a link to vote for the first 2 matchups of the second round. Those matchups are number 1, Black Panther, versus number 16, Doctor Strange, and number 24, Captain Marvel, versus number 8, Guardians of the Galaxy. So go ahead and vote for which of these 4 movies from the second round you want to move on to the third round, and let's see how it goes. And this poll is going to close Saturday night at 5 p.m. for the new video to be released Sunday morning with the results. Thanks for watching.